Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very unusual episode of A Talk with the Galactics. In keeping with a promise that I gave these particular aliens today, I'm not going into the complete story, I'm going into more their story. So, we'll go right into it. I believe it was a couple of years ago, we went into a casino in Missouri. And upon entering that casino, we were in there to go to the movie theater. As we were watching the movie, what took place was I noticed to my left there was a piece of alien tech flying around in there that had a strange triangular shape with three hook arms, and it had a little needle thing in the center with a little red eyeball deal in the center. I went to lash out at that particular probe, and at the time, Michael warned me, don't lash out at it. That somebody else owned that, it wasn't who I thought. So, upon listening to him, after we left the movie, we went further into the casino, and I noticed, in a different frequency of course, groups of aliens that were along the different balconies, floor balconies that were in this casino, and in different parts of the casino. Slightly before that, I noticed implants within all of the slot machines and any sort of electronic gambling device, anything that involved computer chips. And I went to remove one of these. And it's the same triangular implants, the greenish, yellowy looking ones that I see, the Orion and Syrian tech. And I went to remove one, and this alien race warned me and said I am not to remove that. I was on their sovereign territory. And in this, I listened to them, and I found out this particular race I had to revoke something when we enter the casinos. We have to revoke them, and I will describe this to you. Anybody that enters a casino or amusement park, for that matter, not only has some wandering Draco to contend with, but they have this race. They're called the Telarians, and they take genetic material from anybody who enters the casino because they see that as a human entering their home, and therefore they can collect this genetic material for Orions, on the behest of Orions. And so I'm telling anybody now that anybody that enters any casino anywhere, now the humans don't know about this, at least most of them, but I know somebody somewhere in the cabal does, and the military-industrial complex most definitely does. When you enter a casino, make sure to revoke any and all perceived tacit permissions that you gave by walking into any casino that you've gone into. Doesn't matter how long ago, do it anyway when you see this, for taking your genetic material, and any genetic material taken for any experimentation and or trading is rendered energetically inert. This will also unfortunately cause you to not always win at casinos, because these races, when people have a certain type of genetics, they tend to get matched for winning big and large amounts of money. We found out that this has been happening for quite some time. This particular race, I can describe what they look like. They have kind of a horse face appearance, like a brownish to Caucasian tone skin.
How tall are they?
Roughly between 6 to 7 feet tall, it looked like, from my perspective. Their eyes are diamond, not a diamond shape, but rounded oval shape, but the points on the top. Large eyes. They look almost like how the Joker would make the face paint, but that's their eye socket. And they have kind of a long face, slick back black hair, and some of them wear armor, some of them wear robes. They have different classifications. They have warrior and, more of like how we would see a business person class.
Do you see any of them around right now?
I feel them because they're very apprehensive about us talking about them.
Okay, I'm only saying that because I'm looking at something right here who reminds me of not, and again, my perspective's a little bit different. They're not as tall, but
There are shorter ones too. I have seen some that are 5 and 5'5".
But I think
usually 6 feet to 7 feet. Yeah.
they are definitely here right now. I'll just put it to you that way.
Yeah, they are definitely around. We had a meaningful conversation earlier this evening about some energetic issues that have been going on here. I'm not going to go into that bit of detail. Needless to say, sometimes you have to negotiate with some of these different races. I really don't care to do that. I tend to just want to brush them aside when they act stupid. But sometimes you have to negotiate, and Michael told me that at one point too. We would end up having to negotiate with these beings. The last time we went into a casino, when I did that revocation, I heard them telling me, no genetic material, no money. And that's how they treat a lot of those 99.99% of the people don't know about this particular race. So I'm actually, at this moment in time, I'm grounding this information into the benevolent earthly Akashic and mirrored across all dimensions and space and time where appropriate. So,
And what happens is a probe goes around and will basically
take genetic material.
And I will say that when we were in Missouri and we were realizing this, that this was occurring, how coincidental that for the first time I actually felt a large poke in my hip. I think they knew we were there, and for whatever reason,
it was a jab.
Yeah, for whatever reason that time, it's like, we were doing things out of curiosity, but boy, they let their poke to us be known that particular day. So, yeah, I won't quite forget that because that hurt.
Yes, it does hurt. Yeah, they'll stab you in the hip or the arm or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it hurts everybody, but I will, because I've been in plenty of casinos before this, but I can tell you that day it hurt.
Oh yeah.
But
so if you feel a prick in your side, leg, arm, anything like that, and you swear maybe a bug bit you or something like that, it may very well be that. I'm not saying it's every time. I don't want people to be paranoid.
Or it could be, you could think it was like a sciatica twinge or something like that,
something
in your
that.
buttocks area, like, whoa, my sciatica's acting.
Even thinking about it, my sciatica is twinging. So.
But that's, what actually, occurs. And what we found out, again, about this group is that there are quite a few races that either for themselves or for someone else are collecting genetic samples. So there's many more races doing this than people probably are currently aware of. And
this is just one of them.
This is just one of them. They're not always all doing it because of their experimentation. There are some races, which this one happens to be one of them, although please don't feel sorry for them, that they are under the thumbs of the Orion and they are collecting genetic samples because they feel they must, or the Orions say pretty much they're going to eradicate them, so they're kind of slaves to the Orions right now. And
these are their butt buddies or yes men, so or henchmen. So they may not like me saying that, but it's one of those situations. If you don't say no, you're saying yes.
So, and they are too fearful at this moment in time. They don't feel powerful enough, nor do they feel apparently that trying to work with other groups as a unified group, they are still afraid of the Orions and the consequences thereof. And so they, we were trying to, elicit a little bit of a unification to work together for a common goal, and they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, they don't want to do it. We tried to create a truce with them in a non-binding, non-contractual sort of way, and they utterly refused, and they won't oppose any of the Orion disruptions. So, as was promised, we're talking about them now, at least on our Patreon and for our Patreon followers.
Yeah, we may have mentioned it before, but we kind of decided that due to circumstances that we're not going to not talk about these things anymore. We're going to talk about all of these things,
all of them,
and ground it into the Akashic and let people be aware. We're not saying that you should never go to casino. I would certainly like to go to Vegas.
Well, of course.
Chris really hasn't seen it, Old Vegas, but just like with other facilities or whatever, you got to know what you potentially are walking into so you can be sovereign
Yes.
and state that you will not be subjected to any agreements because you are walking on someone's property or any of those things that unwittingly you don't know about. So, so I don't know if you know, and you may not know this because it didn't get in, I don't know the history between this group and the Orions, how long they've been subjugated by them. Do you know any of that?
I'm not reading it from them specifically, but I'm getting this from the overall source energy. This is a way source can communicate through a quantum knowing. And I'm getting it from my own higher being. I'm not going to be foolish enough to channel one of them. No, not happening. That's up there with the Draco, Archonte, Orion forces, all of those. I'm not channeling any of their henchmen anymore. I've done it in the past, and it's stupid. I'm not going to do that. Word of warning to people listening to this, don't. So what I am picking up is their genetic material was more subjugated at one point, that they either they were cloned in some fashion or they evolved very quickly on another planet because of some seeding. I'm thinking more along the lines of seeding. I can't confirm that, but I'm getting more of this feeling. It's not them that's giving this to me. It is, they're over this way somewhere. There's a casino off of that way, I believe.
No, it's actually that way.
It's that way, yeah. And they're up on the highest point too. It's like the old enemies of old on the high mountains, looking down on everybody. That's kind of how this is too. And this is where the Orions have some of their henchmen. High places, either beneath to look up, or high places like these guys are. And this is what I'm kind of picking up. I'm just seeing a planet that actually housed this particular race, and they seemed more tribal to me, and they were grabbed. And there's a similar scenario in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where these shape-shifting aliens that are very much like the Orions in it, and they look very much like the Spindlies in the face in it, that did the same thing to a race in Star Trek. They look kind of like them, kind of, not the same. And they're very close in behavioral mannerisms. Those guys were cloned in the storyline, but I'm saying it's a similar situation. You had a race called the Dominion in that basically cloned a tribal species. It's very similar. That's the example that Source is giving me here. And now they're basically the henchmen or the businessmen of this world. And they, I know in amusement parks they let the Draco wander through amusement parks to get the adrenalized energy from the roller coasters and all of that stuff. But they're the ones grabbing the genetic material, and the Orions just wanted another exchange in there where the Draco could monitor the situation and also steal energy where appropriate too. So you got the Telarians taking genetics, you got the Draco taking energy. They're getting it from two sides. And I've only seen a couple Draco casinos. There's probably maybe 2, 3 at best in a casino. Amusement park, they have like maybe 100.
Right.
So,
and again, we're not saying avoid these places. We're saying be sovereign and just don't give consent.
Just don't give consent, yeah.
Just do not give consent. And if you were going to have a discussion with any family members, anybody regarding some of these subjects, you don't actually have to get into the nitty-gritty because it may be too hard for people to accept. You could, go back to simply religious thing. You saying, sometimes, there really is negativity. We all know. We read in the Bible, it's real. however you want to do it, and just say, but they usually trick people, like use a dream thing. They could give you a piece of candy in your dream, and then you've agreed to have a bad day. They could be doing it all over the place. So any sort of institution you go into, make sure, no matter where you go, you could be going into the bowling alley, don't give consent. Just say, I do not give consent to anything by going into any facility, period.
Yes.
Not into a hospital, not into a church, not into a, again, one of these places here. What we would like to see people do is encourage everyone to just utilize their free will, and in as simplistic way as you can, try to convince other family members to just assert themselves and to just might as well, won't harm you if you decide to do it. And we just encourage people to definitely utilize their free will and say they do not consent, into any of these areas of being utilized. And the more that is done, the more that people understand about it, the less of it is going to be able to occur.
Yes, exactly. And even as we're talking, they were trying to pull something out of my head, but then you took over and started talking about this as well. So yeah, not giving consent to races like this. Yeah, don't tolerate bullying by any of these races, even though the harvesters themselves, I'm talking about the spheres and the goop, is few and far between. You got Orion second generation, like we mentioned on the Orion episode, that's now currently, as of this date, on our YouTube. And you have all these genetic, we'll say, harvester races, and you're going to be dealing with 40 of them. So be very skeptical about anybody who shows up wanting to offer. I call them a carrot and a stick race, because they'll start building up the hype surrounding anything that you're wanting, and then peter it out if they can't get from you what they want.
I call it the Charlie Brown and Lucy effect.
Yeah.
Where you get all excited, like Charlie Brown, he's going to finally kick that football, and then at the very last second, Lucy pulls out the football, and he falls, basically on his back, and he's like, ugh. So there's a lot of that goes on, and right now, from what we understand, there is so much, even probably more than ever, carrot and a stick situations going on in people's lives to just devastate them. So it could be little things, but that seem that are going to come into fruition, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't
peters
occur.
Out, yeah.
So again, revoke any carrot in the stick, revoke any consent, revoke these things, and be aware. Now, who would it probably affect the most? It's probably going to affect the most those people that are seeking and really wanting to know what the truth is. Those are the best people that they would want to derail by doing carrot and a stick by or doing things like that to keep them from searching and, again, understanding more, which means you're raising your frequency more. So those are the people. For those who actually are seers, again, we're not telling you not to go into a casino. We're not telling you not to go to an amusement park. But if you're hearing this, you may now begin to see or notice it. And so, again, this group likes its privacy, which we are determined that they shall not have anymore, honestly, by doing this, because they like to conduct their business in private. They like to keep to themselves. They don't want people to know. And once people know, especially if people walk in that are in any way sensitive or whatever, you're going to realize, potentially, or even start to have sightings or whatever of strange beings that you've never seen
Given
before.
the fact that these energies are changing,
Yes.
you're definitely going to see that.
You're going to see that. And so, as strange as it may be, a horse looking
horse face, they have it
Right.
comes down a little bit like
a
this.
horse or face, humanish
Horsier
look.
face, yes.
Probably people haven't seen before, and they may begin to notice. So we are now determined, since again we've put out the Orion episode on the lifting. That episode is very long, but it's very comprehensive, that we are going to do our best to also let people know who we understand at this current present moment to be working for them, so that you have awareness of all of it, so that you can enact your sovereignty. Again, spread it as much as you can. Don't scare your family. People have a hard time understanding that we talk about all this not because we are trying to conjure anything bad, but we're trying to inform so that you can conjure good, so that you can co-create good. So you have to understand what's out there.
Yeah, we will try to find all of their henchmen and different races that work for on the behest of Orions, and try to inform people what exactly it is they're doing on behalf of these negative groups. So this is one of the reasons that we are doing this. We quickly realized this race was a carrot and the stick race, or like you said, Charlie Brown with the football sort of thing. So that do this to people on a regular basis. And now that you're being informed, and this is being grounded into the earthly Akashikas of this moment, this is going to change, albeit a little slower than probably I would like, but it's actually going to start to spread. So with that, I don't care what they're trying to pull out of my head. So this is time that this show come to a close tonight. So thank you, everybody. I'll more than likely air this as the Halloween show for all of you on Patreon.
And Chris wanted to say, anybody who can actually see things, make it a point to go into a casino and look for their etheric implants.
Yes,
and
look for their etheric things.
Pull them out.
Pull them out. If you have the ability to look into, before we end this, if you have the ability to look into any of these machines, like look beyond on the etheric level into any of these machines, and you see a green triangle, to take etheric breath, what I call etheric breath, and just go and blow out those implants right out of the machines, and do it repeatedly and often. So that if you have the ability to do that, and you have the ability to do that, think of it as doing a saging of one of these places. So if you have the ability to see these, get rid of them. With that, thank you, everybody, for watching this special episode of A Talk with the Galactics. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.